Welcome to ABC News Ghana, and it is time for replay, where we replay everything that happened in the sporting weekend. We start from the Ghana Premier League, where Kumasi Asante Kotoko and Accra Folk failed to win their games. Also, Mediama Sporting Club are on top of the league log. We're looking at the teams, whether House of Folk and Kotoko can really win this season's Ghana Premier. Then we move to the English Premier League, where Arsenal, the Gunners, were stunned by Aston Villa. Unai Emery doing wonders against his former club. They beat the Gunners by 2-1. Manchester City are still closing the gap on Arsenal. For Liverpool, Ancelot's problem still continues. They drew 3-3 with Leeds United. What is happening to Mohamed Salah? Is he going to play the last game for Liverpool next week and then come to the AFCON? What is really happening to him? Why is he not getting the playing time? Then we're to La Liga, where Real Madrid lost to Celta Vigo. Will Xabi Alonso be fired this season? Remember, this particular week they play against Manchester City in the UEFA Champions League. A very long week for Xabi Alonso in there. But FC Barcelona won their game against Real Betis. They staged a comeback. They beat them by 5-3. Then we head to the Italian Serie A, where Napoli beat Juventus. Rasmus Højlund scoring a brace in there. In the Formula 1, Lando Norris has won the F1 championship for the first time in their history in terms of McLaren. He becomes the 11th British driver to win the F1 title. This and many more on replay. We go for a breather. When we come back, Eugene Oforisoti will join me for the discussion. Welcome back from the breeder. I'm still watching replay on ABC News Ghana with me, James Ohin Bamakion. My man, Eugene Oforisoti, is here with me in a solemn mood, in a calm mood. He's not feeling cool today, but probably maybe he's feeling sad. Chelsea are yet to win again, I think, in their last 3 games. Are you okay?
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. But are you okay? Are you okay?
Can't complain.
All right.
Once the government has failed to fix our roads, we'll be suffering from cold and other things. But I hope you're okay.
Oh, I'm good.
If you're okay, I'm better.
That's great. That's great. So let's start off from the Ghana Premier League, where Accra Folk and also Kumasi Asante Kotoko failed to win. So this is the table. But before we come to the table, let's have a look at the results first. Yeah. So Saturday, Nations FC beat Hearts of Lions by 2-1 in the Ghana Premier League. Let me run through you the other results in the Ghana Premier League. But remember that Kumasi Asante Kotoko lost that game. Accra Folk also lost. So from on Friday, it was 11 Wonders that sat at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium, lost 2-0 to Swedro All Blacks. Swedro All Blacks are now doing wonders. Nations FC beats Hearts of Lions by 2-1. Then on Sunday, Hoho United beat Kumasi Asante Kotoko by 1 goal at the Hoho Sports Stadium. FC Samatex beat BBN Go Stars by 2-0. Dreams FC went on to beat Bechem United 2-1 at the Tuba Stroke 7. And Vision Football Club drew 0-0 with Young Apostles. Mediama Sporting Club beat Brekum Chelsea by 2-1. Samuel Bodu suffering in there. Ediana FC drew 0-0 with Baseke Holy Stars, while Karela United at the Aliu Mahama Sports Stadium beat Accra Folk by 2-0. Now let's move on to the table of the Ghana Premier League and let's look at how everything is panning out. And we've played about 13 games in the Ghana Premier League so far, and Mediama Sporting Club are on top of the league log with 26 points. Ediana Stars are behind them, just 2 points. They have 24. Hearts of Lions are third with 23 points. BBN Go Stars are fourth. They are the defending champions. They have 22 points. Kumasi Asante Kotoko, in their last 4 games, they failed to win, but they are fifth on the league log with 21 points. FC Samatex are sixth with 21 points. House of Folk also have the same points. Let's go to the bottom of the league log, and in the relegation zone, we have Brekum Chelsea. Samuel Bodu's Brekum Chelsea are 16th with 12 points. Bechem United are 17th with 10 points. 11 Wonders are 18th with just 6 points. The most interesting thing is Brekum Chelsea and Bechem United in the relegation zone. So let me go to Eugene Oforisoti. First of all, let's start from that game between Kumasi Asante Kotoko and Hoho United. Hoho scored the first goal through a free kick, a nice free kick. Karim Zito and his men failed to equalize. What is happening to them? Because I think last week, midweek, in that game they played, he was very angry at the journalists. You could see from his demeanor that he wasn't so happy. Yesterday too, he says he's disappointed, and he even went on to issue an apology to the fans.
If Karim, first of all, if Karim still was unhappy, I think he channeled the anger at the wrong people. Because obviously, if you're angry at a journalist, I don't get where that's coming from. You are supposed to channel that anger to who deserve it, the actors on the field on that particular day. And I don't know what the problem is, but as has been the problem of the two clubs, inconsistencies. They fail to beat clubs or fail to win certain points which are very much needed. And for a club like Asante Kotoko failing to beat Heart of Lions, no, Hoho United, a newly promoted club. That's on partner with, because Hoho themselves, they started the season very well. Then they also went through some difficult patches. And for Asante Kotoko, who traveled to the Hoho ground and failed to get at least even they should come out with a point. And for them to fail to beat Hoho United, who are new entrants, I think is unpardonable. But on the flip side, when I watched Hoho United their first game in the league against Hearts of Oak at the Accra Sports Stadium, I think that was the first within the first 2 weeks of the league. I was very much impressed by their performance. So I kind of understand that they dipped in form because of inexperience in the squad. And so I think that was what was their issue. But I think they sorted that out, and kudos to them for that important victory.
All right. Soti, I'll come back to you, but let's go for a break. When we come back, we'll talk about Hearts of Oak into details and also look at the English Premier League. Welcome back from the short break. Eugene Oforisoti is still here with me. He was making a point until we went for that very short break. Shoti, you were making a point about Asante Kotoko.
Yeah. I think I was saying that very much disappointed their performance. A few of their results hasn't gone the way it should have been. The Basaka Holy Star, and for me, it was against struggling sides is where the problem is. And also on the flip side, Hoho United, they started the season very well. Then I think their inexperience began to show, but I think they are beginning to get
they are currently 9th.
Yeah, so they are beginning to. You can see that they are beginning to get a hang on how the league works. And I think for them, the key to staying in the league is to be able to get home wins against all opponents. So as much as possible, they should win all their home games, and then when they go away, they should fight for draws and avoid defeat. That is one way. And for me, winning against Asante Kotoko is a very important and pivotal step towards staying in the league for next season.
All right, now from Kumasi Asante Kotoko, let's head to their bitterest rivals, Accra Hearts of Oak, and they were on the run. They played against they played against Karela United at the Aliu Mahama Sports Stadium in Tamale, and they lost to Karela United by 2-0. Suti, let's talk about Karela first. Karela, the season started, they were not performing so well. They were in the relegation zone. Now with some interesting wins against some of the top sides, they are currently 8 on the league log, right behind Accra Folk on the table. What can you? Because last season they were struggling with relegation, even the 2 seasons before, and now it seems that they are picking up against the big boys.
To be very honest, Karela has been flirting relegation for like almost the last 3 seasons. If I can remember, the last 3 years, Karela would always struggle relegation, and then the latter part of the season. And one thing that used to surprise me, when you talk to people, they always say, "Oh, Karela will not be relegated," and true to their word, Karela will not. I don't know what was the basis of the assurance, but no matter how Karela struggled, everybody I spoke to had this common ground: Karela will not be relegated. And I think this season they started. I think this season they started too early with their relegation battle. But I think now they've. Another thing with this the Ghana Premier League, when you lose 2 games, you can go very deep And when you win 2 games, it pushes you very far up. So I'm not too surprised because they've bounced back with a good run of form.
Yeah.
Now I know as well when they lose 2-3 games, they'll go back to where they have been for the last 2 years. And I think for a club like Karela, who at the point were around in the top 6 for consistently, I think they are at a place they do not belong to. They need to return to their original position, which was around the top 6. So I think 8th around this time of the season is not bad. With a few games and a good run of form, I think they would even get into the top 4. Looking at how Hearts and Kotoko are performing poorly, once Karela continue this way, they'll be able to win or get into the top 4. So the key for them is also to be winning their home games and try and get points against the big boys. That will also help them in their journeys. One of the things I also realized was we were getting surprise defeats. Games you didn't expect them to lose, you see Karela losing. And so I think now, I appreciate the fact that they seem to have gotten a hang on their season and they are working towards staying in the league. So and kudos to them for that.
So for Karela United, in their last 6 games in the Ghana Premier League, they've lost only 2. They lost 1-0 against BBN Eagle Stars and lost 4-2 against Kumasi Asante Kotoko. They drew against Dreams FC. They went on to beat Karela United by 3-2. They also beat Hearts of Oak 2-0, and before that they drew 0-0 with Hearts of Lions. So they've been recording some consistent results in there. But let's talk about Accra Folk. Didi Dramani. Midweek in the FA Cup, they lost to True Life Football Academy. Now a lot of the fans were bashing them. Some I even say there was a fan who said he's a carpenter, but he can coach better than Didi Dramani. And in the weekend, they lost against Karela United. What's happening to Hearts of Oak?
Honestly, I don't know if I can answer that question. But with Didi Dramani, also very inconsistent performance. Sometimes at the point you think that okay, the players are now getting used to his system. Then the players have 2-3 games where things are going very well for them. Then all of a sudden, they also go back to the old Hearts of Oak, draws, defeats, and defeat. And for me, it was very unpardonable, the kind of defeats they suffered. Losing against Division 2 side at your own training ground, no excuse whatsoever. It's absolutely unpardonable. And sometimes at a big club, that alone was a sackable offense.
Yeah.
And then to lose in the league after losing that means there was no reaction. So you ask yourself, after losing to True Life in midweek on Wednesday, between Wednesday and the weekend game, what were they doing, the coach and the players? Did any impartation of knowledge go? Did they work on the various errors that we saw in the last game? I think Hearts of Oak, I don't know. I think it's really to also call for the coach's sack. And one of the things in the Premier League is the high attrition rate as well. It's a problem. So coaches don't have a longer time to be able to imbibe their philosophies into the teams. But also we should also remember that this is a result-oriented game. And for big clubs like Hearts and Kotoko, the results matter even sometimes more than the style of play. At the end of the season, the fans need to have some silverware. The coaches must deliver silverware. I don't think the way Didi Dramani is going, any silverware is possible because the only silverware is the FA Cup. Now, it doesn't look like they will win the league. So it means that even next season, now Hearts of Oak will not be in Africa. Remember that Kotoko were in Africa very recently. And at least it will improve their fortunes financially and a lot of things. It will expose their players as well. And so if Hearts is not going to Africa next season, per their exit from the FA Cup means they will not be in the CAF Confederations Cup. And also per what they are doing in the league now, they don't look like they'll win the league. I think it's a cause for concern. And as a long-term target, looking at what the club, the investment that Togba the 14th has done into the club, that must be the technical team has commensurate that with some silverware and progress in terms of getting a chance into the group stages of at least the CAF Champions League, because I think that is where Hearts always argue that they belong. And so I think the argument is that if Dreams was able to even get to the semi-final of the CAF Confederations Cup, then Hearts of Oak belong. They don't have any excuse. They belong to the CAF Champions League. And so they need to do better. And even to do better, they need to even win the league. And they don't look like they're winning the league. and things are not looking good for Didi Dramani. I think he would have to sit up. Otherwise, at the point there, the board and the management will crack the whip on him. I don't think he would have anyone to blame but himself.
All right, so Didi Dramani has to sit up. That means that in the last 5 games of Accra Folk in the Ghana Premier League, they've won only 1. That's unpardonable.
Yeah.
Only 1 in the last 5. And that's one they beat Vision Football Club by a goal to 0. Out of that, they've lost 2. They lost to Kumasi and Kotoko. Then also they lost to Karela United. And they've drawn 2 games against Stray Blast and Young Apostles. It's not looking good for the Phobians. In their next game, they play against Nations FC. One tough opponents, and they'll be playing at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium. Then they will play against Indiana Stars, then Samatex, before they play Mediama. So 4 tough games coming up for Didi Dramani. And if he's not able to win those games, maybe I don't know what will happen. But let's wait and see. But let's move on to the English Premier League. And a lot of interesting things happened over the weekend. Pep Guardiola chasing Arsenal at the top, but still Arsenal on top of the league. First of all, let's talk about that Arsenal game where the Gunners lost 2-1. Buenda scoring in that last minute to give Aston Villa all 3 points. They are currently 3rd on the league log. So
good evening.
Good evening. Your general assessments about the game, about the Arsenal game.
I think first of all, I was very much impressed with the performance of Aston Villa. They looked very relentless right from the get-go. They looked like they wanted a win, and they pushed and pushed. They have them pumped until they got that important goal from Matty Cash first. And then when at halftime I saw the change, I saw Leandro Trossard, I saw Victor Gyökeres. I thought, okay, then Arsenal are trying to pull a comeback. Then less than 5 into the second half, Trossard scores. And also kudos to Trossard. He has been able to figure out a way, even when he doesn't start games and he gets into games, he always finds himself on the score.
I always prefer him to start than Martinelli.
I've always said, honestly, it surprised me. It even surprised me that at a point, Mikel Arteta sat down, contemplated, and decided to let Martinelli start over.
Because in the transfer window, Trossard nearly left Arsenal.
Yeah, and I'm sure it was because of Sansa's decisions. Once he wasn't getting game time. Then I'm sure he would have been very much frustrated with his lack of. With players, once they don't get game time. Even surprising, players who don't even play well complain when they don't get game time. And
they imagine
a player who plays well, exactly. That's always going to be a problem. So I like the fact that once Trossard came into the game, he brought in some energy, and I like the never-ending determination from Villa, because up until the last minute, clearly it looked like the tide was against them, but they made sure that they put the pressure until Arsenal fumbled in the last minute, and then they got their goal. And I don't know, before the game, I just had this feeling that Aston Villa is a team that has worried Arsenal's title winning hope so many times. There was a season where you needed some victories.
It was just a win against them.
And I remember, this guy at AS Roma now, the Jamaican guy, Leon Bailey and co, they destroyed your party. I think that was even at the Emirates. So I knew that coming to Villa Park, it was going to be very, 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 very difficult. And the way they set their team are very, very compact, very, very physical. Players like Ezri Konsa, Matty Cash, Luca Digne, Ian Matson, and the midfield of this Senegalese Belgian, Amadou Nana, and exactly.
Kamara.
And then and I must say, Kamara has been very, very impressive of late. Since he left Marseille to Aston Villa, in the beginning, he wasn't too impressive. You could tell he was very cautious, very nervous in his dealings. For midfielders, it's when you touch the ball a lot more, you're able to get a lot of time on the ball that you can be able to express yourself and build your confidence. He lacked confidence, but it looks like now Kamara, after 2 years in the Premier League, is now in his elements and he's now taking the game by storm. Buendia, he suffered when he moved from Norwich into Aston Villa. He suffered in terms of his confidence. He had to even go on loan to Bayer Leverkusen. That didn't even work out at Leverkusen. He came back, and those who watch him at Norwich, Buendia was a good.
He was that guy.
At that time, there were 3 players: Timo Pukki,
Yeah,
There was this guy called Todd Cantwell. I don't remember.
Yeah,
He had
Charlie in the midfield.
Yes, Todd Cantwell, and then there was Emiliano Buendia. Good. These three were superb. Even the team that was going to relegation, these were the three players we all knew that.
And I was surprised that Cantwell didn't get it when they were relegated.
It's a mystery to me. I don't know whether his agent couldn't work out a move, and it was a disaster. He couldn't get a bigger club. So for Buendia, such a victory, it restores the confidence in him and it gives him that belief again. You know, for 2 years where you have been off and nothing seems to work for you, getting this important victory against the league leaders Arsenal, it means that he's got his confidence back, and from there he can go on to do better. And I don't know whether this also speaks to Arsenal's defense, but they are beginning to concede a few goals in situations where they could.
Saliba is injured. Gabriel Magalhaes is injured.
Yeah.
Now the two centre backs who are supposed to fit in, Mosquera and Hincapié. Mosquera too is injured. So we played against Villa. Arsenal played Timber and Mosquera in the midfield, and played Ben White as right back. So it looks like that centre back is becoming an issue, and the better that Saliba and Gabriel returns, the better for us now. But they are still on top of the league log.
I like the fact that you quickly have to do a redemption for your club.
Oh, they are still on top of the league log.
This is the beginning of lamentations.
Oh, no.
So,
we've gone past this stage.
But you know, I told you that 2 weeks ago, I believe Arsenal is going to win the league. But from the Chelsea game, when I had the firm belief that Arsenal is going to win the league. Is that?
But are we done playing?
No, but I remember an argument we made last week. You said whichever team leads the Premier League table is the best team at that point.
Yes, so we are still the best. We are still leading.
Immediately City overtakes you are not the best team in the league.
But they are the best and they are leading.
All right.
Until when we play the final game, the final whistle is being blown, so the winner is declared.
So as an Arsenal fan, you actually and genuinely believe that you win the league this season?
Of course, I believe.
All the best to you.
If we don't win the league this season, I'll stop supporting Arsenal until Arteta leaves.
No.
You can put this on record. No. If you are not, the thing is, if you are not,
this isn't challenging enough. No, why if you stop supporting the club because of your manager? We've seen people do that.
We've not won it because of the manager. Because for 4 consecutive seasons, how can you not win the EPL title? This is last season. If he doesn't win it and he's not changed, I'll stop supporting Arsenal.
No, but that is not challenging enough for you to support the
club. So
what
do you want me to see? What do you want me to see?
No, maybe you do something like what Sami did for us.
Something like
Chelsea beat Barcelona. Sami honored the promise.
This is not the last time we are having replay.
No, but for me to tell you not support the club, that is not challenging, and that even speaks about your loyalty. You are supposed to support the club.
What is loyalty?
Thick and thin. So if a manager you don't support him, for example, I never liked Graham Potter, but I had to sit through a Graham Potter leading Chelsea. But I never questioned this. And I
never questioned what?
I didn't stop supporting Chelsea. I supported Chelsea.
But you questioned the manager.
But I never stopped supporting them.
But I've not stopped. I said when we don't
you will support them.
And
you
will
stop
win.
Supporting them.
And so we will win.
No, that statement is like it's a two-edged sword. It means that one side.
The Bible is a two-edged sword.
No, this one is like it's a buy. You have put a buyback clause inside.
But I'm telling you,
I'm sure for my lawyer friends, they realize what you've done.
Which one is the buyback clause?
It's like you've put in a
I said
statement
if we don't win,
something that you can fall back on later and say, okay, well, I said that I wouldn't, and then that
if we don't win,
well, let's see how that goes. Because I know clearly you are not going to win the league. And this December round of form, of course, losing at Villa Park, it will come back to bite you. You've not even gone to play away at the GTEC Community Stadium. That's a game I know. Surely you will lose.
Brentford.
That's a game I know. Surely you will lose.
Oh, Brentford. So our next game, Arsenal's next game is
fixtures that
Arsenal's next game is against Wolves.
I think for you now, the only thing you need to focus on is try and win the FA Cup. Because it doesn't look like after the Champions League, forget about it.
Oh, I never said.
I'm only telling you my
it's
thoughts.
The EPL. I said we will win.
I'm also telling you what I think.
Okay.
The Premier League, forget about it.
Okay.
Champions League, forget about it. Focus all your energy on winning the FA Cup.
Okay. So which one will you be winning this
season? Chelsea is not winning it.
Anything this is okay.
Yeah. So you see, this life has set
very early. But this one they may be buyback clause. You are only saying because if you don't win. No, you're also saying because if you don't win, then you know that I said we won't win anything. But in your heart of hearts, You want Chelsea to
No, I'm
win
very
something.
realistic. Now,
It's all about
if Chelsea
being
couldn't
realistic.
win, no, you see, last time you asked me whether Chelsea were title contender.
Even that one, guys,
I'm coming. No,
it's just like what you are referring to as I
no,
did.
Chelsea. You asked me that question 3 weeks ago. That time Chelsea even was on a good run of form, and I told you that once we couldn't win at Old Trafford, there's certain games. For me, if Chelsea will win, there's some certain games I look at. If I think Chelsea are contenders, Villa Park away, GT Community Stadium away, Emirates away, Old Trafford, and then Villa Park. These are at least these are the 5 away grounds. If Chelsea is able to win away at these 5 grounds, I know that Chelsea are competing for the title. Once Chelsea couldn't win at the GT Community Stadium, they couldn't win at Old Trafford. They couldn't win at Elland Road.
We've not played at
the Emirates. Even at the bridge, we didn't even win. No, after that one, we had you here. We had you here. So once we couldn't win, once we couldn't, no, you know, while you were there, Charlie, you knew what happened. So I think this is a point where Arteta needs to sit down and start doing his introspection well. Because I think Eze came into the team, he started doing very well, and all of a sudden now the reality on the ground has hit him.
No, let me tell you. Let me tell you the truth. It's because of Odegaard.
Oh, but even before Odegaard started coming, he started experience. In the Chelsea game, Odegaard didn't play.
Listen.
In the Chelsea game, Odegaard didn't play.
In the Chelsea game, that was the only game that Eze didn't perform. But before,
and Odegaard wasn't there. No, so you see,
Odegaard is now being deployed as a 10, and clearly when Eze was at Crystal Palace,
he was a number 10. So
at Crystal Palace, sometimes he was even being used as a left winger. He was always complaining.
So my point is,
that's what I'm saying.
Didn't Arteta know this before?
And let me tell you,
I'm also asking, isn't
Arteta always supports Odegaard. He always play him.
So is it an Arsenal fan complaining about Odegaard?
No, but sometimes I feel that we all have one player in the team whom we feel like can do the simple things, but sometimes they want to exaggerate and do other things.
And you think that's Odegaard?
Yeah, exactly.
You've been ungrateful like Liverpool.
No. But that's the truth.
At the moment.
Oh, that's the truth. That's the truth. Odegaard sometimes overdo places where he needs to pass. He wants to dribble.
Hold on to the
places
ball.
where he wants.
Those are the things that even
places where he wants him to shoot.
And those are the things that bring him the injuries he had.
Exactly. But let's move on. Let's move on to other highlights. Now let's move on to the Liverpool game. Now Liverpool played against Leeds United. So at the Vitality Stadium, it was goalless between Bournemouth and also Chelsea Football Club. But at Elland Road, Mo Salah didn't participate, but he made his presence felt in the presser box or during the press conferences with journalists, where he made some damning statements and also reflections on what's happening between him and Ancelotti and also the team in general. But we will come to that one specifically, but let's discuss the game. Chelsea failing to score a goal against Bournemouth. Also, we saw Semenyo scoring, but that goal was ruled for offside. Do you think that Chelsea, first of all, created decent chances, and if they did they utilize it well? So
one of the things I forgot to talk about, one of the games Chelsea, if I measure Chelsea's ability to be title contenders, is at the Vitality Stadium. Bournemouth away is a game Chelsea usually struggles a lot of the time. Even if Chelsea win, they would have to labor for a good result. And honestly, this was a game where I think Chelsea were very much lucky to have escaped with a draw, because right from the onset, Bournemouth were on Chelsea. I think they scored about 2 goals which the referee had to rule out for offside. And those offsides were very much contentious. Another referee, based on his own discretion, might have allowed the goal to stand. And I believe if the goal had stood at that point, things would have changed. And Bournemouth would have added a few more goals. So it could have been a 2-3-0 result, just like the Leeds United game earlier. And I think that's the problem with Chelsea. I knew it. That's another thing with the Chelsea mentality. Chelsea cannot win 3-4 games in a row. So I knew that immediately Chelsea had those good results against Burnley, then Arsenal, and then Barcelona. I knew that automatically the next 2 games, which were not high-level games, Chelsea would not win those games. And once they lost to Leeds United, I knew Bournemouth are a better side than even Leeds United. So of course Chelsea are going to struggle. And I think that as a Ghanaian, that was one of the first times I got to also appreciate Semenyo from the opponent side, and I believe that he was a potent threat for the Cherries from the onset. Almost all the chances Bournemouth created, Semenyo had something to do with them, and I think for a Ghanaian that was refreshing to see, especially after the draw. So you see that after the draw now, you start to assess the various players. So if we're doing Ghanaians performance of Ghanaian players abroad, anybody who watches a team would have realized this match would have realized that Semenyo didn't score a goal, was not on the score sheet, didn't register any goal contribution, but he impressed so well, and I think that was for me as a Ghanaian, that was good to see. But also, he also brings to the question the importance of a player like Moises Caicedo, because it was very clear that Chelsea could not have a hang on the midfield. The Bournemouth players were Smith and the others were having a field day running around,
cooking
the Chelsea team. And I think it was quite problematic and worrying from the Chelsea perspective. And I think it's something Enzo Maresca needs to work on as they travel to Italy to play away in the Champions League. But I think they need to work on that. And guess what? The next time Chelsea plays a big game, then they rise up to the occasion, and very flattering.
Interesting.
So I'm not very much surprised by the result, but I think that Chelsea were lucky to have avoided defeat at the Vitality Stadium.
All right, so Chelsea were lucky. Now, still on the Premier League, let's talk about Mohamed Salah now. After that game against Leeds United, he made some statement that he had a good relationship with the coach Ancelotti, but he doesn't know what happened, and he feels like someone wants him out of the club. And he said he probably might be playing this last game for Liverpool Football Club when they play against Brighton, and then he will come to the AFCON. Then in January he will try and maybe see whether his agents can find him. So Salah says he has done so much for this club. He had a good relationship with the manager, but he doesn't know why he's still on the bench. Remember, I think this is the second game in a row that Salah has been on the bench for Liverpool Football Club. He is a club legend. He's the third highest goal scorer for the club. And he's still scoring goals, but though he's not have a good season, he's been placed on the bench. Let me come to Soti, what he makes about this situation. Do you think that Salah is right? Is the coach right in putting him on the bench because of his performances of late? And do you also think the timing is also right?
So usually, as Africans, we do solidarity a lot. Once an African is in trouble, then we have to rush to support him. But let's go back a little. For a player like Salah doesn't grant interviews unless he has a message to deliver.
Exactly.
So this interview was done in the mixed zone. So in the mixed zone, players are obligated to pass, but not obligated to speak. Now, since following the Premier League, I think Salah has granted interviews 3 times. The first, I don't remember the context, but the second was last season when he wasn't being offered a contract at the club, and you saw the way he communicated and sought to put all the blame on the club, and he was putting pressure on his slot to answer questions he had no answer to. Yeah. Now again, Salah at this point also chooses to answer questions when he realizes they are in a moment of difficulty, and I think as African football lovers, I think we also need to be honest at a point. We all know the contribution of Salah to the Liverpool team over the years. But let's be very honest to ourselves. Liverpool has backed Salah so many times. When Firmino and Mane were around and things weren't going well, he wasn't passing the ball and all those things. Guess who was substituted first? Mane. Even though Salah was the one who wasn't passing the ball. And Mane had every right to be angry because as a team player, there are certain moments where I'm open and need to pass the ball.
So if Mane was right to be angry, is Salah right to be angry?
No, I'm building the point.
Okay.
Liverpool backed Salah at that point, and Mane was angry. Now, guess what? When the two of them were nearing the period of the expiration of their contract, guess who the club backed the game by giving an extension?
Salah.
Now, even before then, remember, when Sadio Mane won his first AFCON, which team was he against?
Senegal.
No, which team was he against? Mane plays for Senegal. Which team did he play against in that final?
I don't get it.
When Mane won the AFCON,
against Egypt.
Was against Egypt. Salah played in that game, right?
Yeah.
Now, every other club that had a Senegalese player in there, they did something to commemorate that first ever AFCON. Even I remember, Crystal Palace even did something, not even big, at their training ground. They just, Kouyaté, they gave him a jersey, clap for him, did a lap of honor, a clap for him there. That ended. At least the club had appreciated him for that. There was no banner, nothing. Now, guess what? At Liverpool, nothing was done for Sadio Mane because Mohamed Salah.
Why is this issue about money?
I'm just making a point because guess what? Mane, Salah was more valued by Liverpool than this. So if you get a situation where now you get a sense that you're not being backed by the club. Remember, there's so many times where the club backed you by other people.
But he also did mention that
in certain situations where it looked like you were for the money situation like this, I feel the club didn't treat money or and it was all because of Salah.
But Salah did mention that he has done so many things for the club.
Guess what? Now, and it's not under pressure. We are all here. What has Salah done for Liverpool this season?
But the issue too is Salah sits back and sees that Gakpo is not performing. Apart from Ekitike, Isak is not performing. Who else is in that attacking lineup? Like all the attacking players are not performing. So why is he being the scapegoat in that performing.
one? Do you realize their output on the day? They are always pushing. They are always pressing. They are always doing something. So many points this season, Salah has been off. He doesn't even get a touch on the ball. He has been. I felt this was a time for Salah. This was an opportunity for Salah to reset. So we are benched for 2 games. You just relax. If I was Salah, this was the approach I'll take. Just relax, sit back. For example, they've not won a few games since we were on the bench. Okay, they won one against West Ham.
Yeah.
So that completely have worked against West Ham. So you realize he picked and chose the day to grant the interview. Against West Ham, it didn't have made any sense. Yeah. He waited against Leeds United. I felt he should have waited again. There will be a few more bad performances.
I think their next game is against Brighton. And after Brighton, he heads to the AFCON.
There will be a few more bad performances. What happens is that you just relax. At a point, the fans will now start calling for you and say the argument you made. Gakpo is not performing well. Isak is not performing well. Vets is not performing well.
Yeah, Vets.
So put Salah in.
But so why should Salah be there?
At that point, you would have achieved whatever you wanted without ever opening your mouth.
Yeah.
He had the good role he had enjoyed over the years. He has eroded that with this self-decision of his to go on a media tour and badmouth the club. Now, if you watch the video carefully, there was a guy behind. Immediately, Salah said, "I feel somebody is throwing me under the bus." The guy, that's the club media officer. Yeah. He has because now the club has to go into some PR moves and do a whole lot of things and try and sort of paper the cracks that Salah has now opened up. And for me, for example, I think Salah should have just kept quiet. Go to the AFCON. Now, when you perform very well at the AFCON, when you come back, what happens? Automatically open a conversation about Salah performed very well at the AFCON. Now, if Liverpool is still struggling, then there's a problem about what? And it's not the manager. So Salah didn't handle this situation on all fronts. Time is, for in the fullness of things, in the fullness of time, all things shall align. So all Salah needed to do was just relax. It's very frustrating not to get playing time. And I get the point that he said he was promised a lot of things, but the club also didn't anticipate that there will be so many bad performances like this. So just relax. It's just 2 games for crying out loud. It's not like a 5-game run. Yeah. Just 2 games of being paid. Just relax. Once things continue to go wrong, the fans will start calling and they will remind the coach of times where before even his arrival, you were there, you helped the club to reach there. So for me, Salah didn't help himself, and he's going to put endless pressure on himself now. And when he goes to the AFCON, there'll be more pressure on him because the Egyptians also start putting pressure on him to also perform. Because it's been a while since Egypt won the AFCON, and the Egyptians believe that if Salah doesn't win the AFCON for them, then he doesn't even get to the likes of Abutrika and Mido and Gedo. Because mind you, those guys never got to the heights of Salah.
Yeah,
but on the African stage,
they proved 2 or 3 times. So let's see what happens in the coming days. Do you think that Mohamed Salah was right? Is the timing okay? And even after the AFCON, is he going to still be at the AFCON? Now, let's move on to the Spanish La Liga, where Real Madrid lost to Celta Vigo by 2-0. And then FC Barcelona did a comeback against Robert. So that was how the game ended between Barcelona and also Real Betis. I have still with me Eugene Oforesuti. Madrid are yet to win a game. Is it in their last 5 they've won only one? Because after beating Espanyol, they drew with Elche, they drew with Vallecano, drew with Girona. Yeah. Then they beat Bilbao before now losing to Celta Vigo. Last 5 they've won one.
Yeah, it tells of the torrid time that Real Madrid under Xabi Alonso is going through. And once their players are not united and there are a few disgruntled players in that squad, things like this are bound to happen. And I think that the players are played as individuals, but they don't play as a unit. You know this funny thing we as football lovers do at the beginning of every season. Then we put this thing. Okay, if we put it back here, we put Vinicius here, we put.
You know the pairs of FIFA.
Then we for this thing will cook, everything will collect. Forgetting that there are certain moments in the game where the team needs to defend, they need to press collectively as a unit, and some of the players will not do those runs. So one player triggers the press, the other doesn't. And so it means that it will cause the other's run to be futile. Now, if he does a run 2 times, the other does not coordinate that press, he'll get tired. Naturally, he won't do it again. So now, those little decisions is what will go against them. I must say, it all goes back to that decision to bring Dean Howson and those. I don't get it. I don't get it. As for that one, I can never be sold. And I can never be sold on that idea. And whoever was able to convince the Madrid team to go and get Dean Howson to come and play for Real Madrid,
but
that's a conversation for another day.
In the game, were any of the goals?
No, I'm just saying that whole the money they used to go and buy, they should have bought another.
Rudiger played.
No, Rudiger came when it was a done deal. they were a goal down and a man down. I don't know what he could have done. Already the die had been cast, and he himself too, he's also struggling from a lack of confidence. He has been benched for so long, and so he's also now coming back into the fold, and I think that's a problem. If he had been playing a lot, for Rudiger, it's about momentum. Once he's in the game for a few games, he builds that momentum, and once he gets the momentum, the confidence comes. If you are being honest, Rudiger is not a good player. Rudiger is a typical average African player.
But with Takashi.
Exactly. The only thing Rudiger uses, the thing we Africans have to advantage, the physique and the physicality, the energy. That's the only thing Rudiger has that the other defenders don't have. But I dare say, Howson is he's physical, but he isn't aggressive.
Yeah.
I mean, he's tactically good, tactically gifted. He's technically inclined in terms of the game. But the problem is physicality. And certain games are there. It's not about your physicality. It's not about your technique. It's about the physicality. Able to push off the. If you look at the first goal, for example, if the defender was able to hold off the defender or give him a shrug with the shoulder or something, tip him off a little, the guy would have got that balance to do that. The flick he did to be able to score the goal. I think that's the problem. Their defense is lacking confidence. And for the left back Frank Garcia as well, he has never impressed me since he joined Madrid about 2 years ago. He still has his sporty elements in him.
He has more things to learn.
Unfortunately for them, Fela Mendes has also helped there in the situation. So it means that Madrid has a lot of buying to do in the general transfer or possibly next year, because they need a proper fullback for the left fullback, the right fullback as well. At the point, they are not too impressive, but at least they can hold their own at the right fullback. And then for the centre back as well, you need to have a conversation about Militao and the rest. They need to get a very good centre back. This whole modern day centre back, ball playing centre back, this walk thing is killing the game. We need to get a proper traditional centre back who's able to give the tackles, able to clear the ball. That's the most important fact. All this building from the back thing is secondary. Primary, don't concede a goal, and that's the thing Madrid is missing out on.
Let's talk about Barcelona, because of the bad form of Madrid. They are now on top. They are still on top. Does this give them the opportunity to extend the lead? And also, do you think they can go on to win the league?
Extend the lead, yes, and I think this result for them helps them. It gives them a good advantage. If Madrid continues the way they are, I think Barcelona will run away with the league title. But I must say that I was very much disappointed with the refereeing. I mean, the referee in La Liga is a joke. It's a big joke. So the ball, I mean, elementary textbook. Every average football fan who watches football for 2 years knows that once the ball hits a part of your body, before it hits your hand, it's not a foul. If the ball hits Mark Batcher's thigh, then it hits his hand as it ricochets off his body, and then the referee whistles for red card, for penalty. After VAR tells you, and it's surprising now, VAR reviews that, confirms that, and asks him to go and review. And he also reviews that and calls for a penalty. That's shameful. Now, turns out, if you watch the game, there were certain moments in the game, you could tell the referee was on Barcelona's side. Each time,
Barcelona fans will come for.
Oh no, as for me, I've always maintained it. were certain offside decisions the referee took against Betis. I think it was quite problematic. That was the first part. I think too as well, that penalty situation also didn't help. Because it had killed the and I checked even that it was 5-1.
Yeah.
Or 4-1 at the
4-1.
So it was a shameful officiating from them, because guess what? It was at 4-3. The dynamic would have changed, because if you even watch the game, if there were another 3 minutes, Betis would have equalized the goal. If it was at 4-3, Betis would have equalized. I think Betis scored about 2 or 3 goals, which out of them, at least 1 or 2, if it was left to the discretion of another referee, could have taken the goal. So all in all, with the 50-50 decisions that went against them, the referees, it looked like the referee went to the game with a very much entrenched position already. And his decision with the penalty and some of the decisions he took in the game, it gave me an impression he wasn't in for a fair game, and he looked like he was tilting the pendulum of influence towards the Barcelona team.
All right, so those were the thoughts of Eugene Ofori. So now let's talk a little bit, like 30 seconds, about Napoli Juventus. Rasmus Højlund going on to score a brace in that particular game.
I mean, the headline would be Rasmus Højlund, but for me, David Neres is the player to talk about. Because the guy, you know, the interview
he was doing well with Noah Lang.
Yeah. You remember the interview granted last week?
Yeah.
You know, he has been on like a 5-game scoring streak, and then he was asked a question at the post-match interview. He said, it was like, "You are back." And he said, "I never left." But I think truly he's back. Yeah. He struggled for a while, but finally he has found a club who has fit him. And I think I like Conte for that. He has resuscitated a lot of players' careers. He has done that to Scott McTominay. Yeah. Now he's doing that with to David Neres, and I think I like what he's doing to Neres, and I like what he's doing to Højlund as well. This is the point where United will look through their notes and ask themselves, where did you get it wrong with Højlund? Because clearly there was nothing wrong with the player, and it's surprising because the first goal Napoli scored was a classic counter-attacking goal.
Exactly.
And United is a counter-attacking team, so how weren't they able to get the best out of Højlund in a counter-attacking team?
Because he came back from the back of the defender at the blind side,
and then exactly. I honestly. I think it speaks to United and the way they've destroyed the careers of a lot of players. But enough of United.
Did you have to send it to United?
I think that it was. I love the game, but I think Juventus at the point also need to ask himself a few questions. It was good for Spalletti. Spalletti faced his former club, who he won the Scudetto with them a few seasons ago, and I think it was good enough to see his return. But I don't think he was impressed with the team's performance. Their defense was lackluster. And Locatelli and Kefren Thuram didn't look like they had a hang on the midfield. So it looked like McTominay and Lobotka and the others, they took the game to Juventus. But I also loved Kenan Yildiz. He's one of the... I think Yildiz is the guy holding Juventus now at the moment.
Now, a lot of clubs are chasing him.
And you see, you know what surprised you? Juventus will sell him. The number of players Juventus have...
Obviously, they need money.
Juventus are going through a financial struggle, but at least for sporting integrity-wise, keep a few players.
Some of the player even needs money.
Some of the players...
So you would like to move.
Some of the players Juventus have let go in the last few years has been very, 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 very problematic. Well, and some of the players they've been introduced into their team. For example, I didn't get why they brought in Kalulu. Because I was never impressed by Kalulu. When Kalulu was at AC Milan, I was never impressed by Kalulu. Some of these deals, well, we are on TV, so I will not say what I think. Some of those deals are things the financial authorities need to be looking in, because those things don't add up on the sporting decision. So maybe financially they should check those things. But all in all, I think Conte has set his team up very well. It's good because he won against AS Roma very recently, who were also in a good run of form, who were keeping a lot of clean sheets. Napoli won against them, and since the Roma have been struggling, they lost against Cagliari over the weekend, and now Roma have won against the Juventus as well. I think that's good for them. And for Spalletti, that's an early reality check for him. Last week against Cagliari as well. So from now, for Luciano Spalletti, he needs to start looking at how to set up his team very well, such that they don't concede goals, because he got to that was sacked because of poor performances. If things continue to go the way they are, I don't think Spalletti himself will be spared. If things continue the way they are, let's say after 6 games, I'm sure Spalletti himself will also be shown the exit.
So that was it on the Serie A, and a lot of interesting things are happening. That's how we call it a wrap on the replay with me, James Ohimbo Makion. I did this with Eugene Ofori. So you spoke about the Ghana Premier League, went to the English Premier League, spoke about Mo Saleh's statement that he did over the weekend, headed to La Liga, where Madrid are suffering, and now to the Serie A